Page 42, Fandango. It's on page 42 in my book. You may have a different book with a different page number. So when I'm talking about this, I'm going to talk about the first page or second page because it's 2 pages. Rather than page numbers, I don't want to throw you too much with the page number. The arrangement should be the same if it's an Alfred book. It should be the same. So let's look it over. It's about 1.5 pages long, but it has all kinds of repeat signs and things going on, so it's a little longer than that. Treble and bass clef, no sharps or flats in the key signature. So it's like, well, what key are we in? And you think, well, C major or A minor. Technically, I think it's an A minor. It's in a minor key. But with a lot of accidentals, it can actually be in a different key. You have to listen. However, for the purpose of this lesson, go ahead and do the C major and the A minor scales there. And you probably ought to be doing these scales 2 octaves up and down now. If you haven't been, it's time to start. 3/4 time signature, let's talk about it. Right hand first, make sure we get the notes and rhythms. Here at the beginning, 1 and 2 and 3. You just take the 3rd finger on G sharp. Come up a little bit with the hand. Okay. And then the second line, it's the last 3 measures. You're here and you got 2 rests to come up here. It's an A minor chord, okay. And then you got 2 rests to come back down here. First page, 3rd line, the second measure here. It's here, and then here. On the top of page, or the second page, they want here. I don't want my hand up in here. This is a bit awkward because of the thumb. So what I'm going to do is cross over the thumb and use 2 and 4. I'm going to use the thumb as a pivot and just come across. Here. So here. And then going on, you hold it down for 3 measures. You're already on 2 and 4. And then second line, that's a G natural. The sharp sign before is only good for that 1 measure. So this is G natural. Now here I can use 1 and 2 because I can keep my hand out here. Now there's a repeat sign to send me back to the bottom of the first page there, you see it? And there's a note, 2nd time 8 VA. So when I repeat it, I'm not going to here, I'm going to go all the way up here. So I'm going to just lift and move. That's fine. And you do the whole thing there again. But then when you get to the end of the second line there on the second page and you're going to go on, now you're going to go down here. I just cross over. And then you cross over. And I use 2nd finger on the G sharp, the 4th line. Just keep my hand out here. You can use thumb if you want to. Then you repeat. Again, there's a note, 2nd time 8 VA. So instead of here, I'm going to come up here. Now you can use 2nd finger if you want, but the hand has to move further if you do that. I don't want to move my hand any further than I have to, so I'm going to use little finger because I don't have to move as far. So I'm here, I'm going to go here, and then 2nd finger. I just use the repeated note to change hand positions is all. Although you can use fingering in the book, it's fine. And then going on the 4th line, it's not 8 VA here, and they say 3rd finger. I'm here, and then here. I don't recommend it. I'm going to use thumb and then cross over to 2. Now I'm using their finger. So it's 1, 2, and stay in this position. And then 2nd finger on the G sharp. Then when I repeat, 2nd time 8 VA again. So instead of here, I got to go up to here. Well, again, I don't want to move my hand anymore, and I have to. So rather than coming all the way up here and using 3rd finger, here, I'm going to use 5th finger because I'm not going as far. I'm going to here rather than here. So I'm going to use 5th finger on the first one. And in fact, I can play the whole thing now in this position. I don't have to move. There's different ways of fingering, and it's not one is right and one is wrong. See, a lot of times we like to do sequences the same. For instance, there in the 4th line, there at the end, that's one pattern, and then the It's another, same pattern, a different, it's a sequence going down. And a lot of times in piano, when we get these, we'll finger each of those patterns the same. And that's what they're doing here. They're starting with third each time. And that's a good fingering. It's just because we're moving around so much, it's a little more, it's just easier not necessarily to start with third finger. Well, if I don't do that, then I can just as easily stay in this position. I don't need to move at all. There's just different ways of fingering it. Your teacher will help you if you have a teacher. You figure it out. If it's different than the book, pencil it in and use it. Stick with it. Left hand. Oh, left hand's got the chords. That's all. Bottom of the first page, broken chords. You want to get to where you can do this without looking at the keyboard on these chords. You're not going very far. Which is kind of nice because the right hand's got some stuff going on. So put the hands together at the beginning. It's not really too hard there. Now the end of the second line there, you're up here. The left hand is an AVA under it. So instead of here, you got to come down here. Well, you got 2 beats of rest there to get from here to here. So you may have to practice. You can do it one hand at a time. You got 2 rests, rest, rest. However you want to do it. I don't like moving both hands at the same time if I can help it. Sometimes you have to. But however you do it, one hand at a time or both hands together, you have to check and make sure you're in the right spot. You don't mess up the beat when you do this. It's here. And then 2 beats of rest to come down here. That's about it. On these other 8 VA things, the left hand doesn't move. It stays right where it's at. You're only moving the right hand up and on. Now, once you have an idea of the fingering and rhythm and all that, then go through very slowly and get rid of the hesitations. Once you can do that pretty much, then we'll think about the articulation. On the staccatos, they're short. I'm flexing at the wrist. They're short. I'm on the key and I'm bouncing off. At the end of the second line of the first page, they're accented. Just give them a little extra. Go ahead and separate them, each one. Just a little separation. Not short, just a little separation. And the third line, now it's all smooth and even. This is contrast. Try and connect this with the fingers as best you can. Now, if you want, on the top of the second page, that's a new phrase. So if you want to lift up, like taking a breath, that's fine. The panel will cover it up, but you can still do it with the hands and you feel it. Yeah. So the second page is all pretty much connected, although you can lift up for the phrasing. Now once you have the articulation, then we'll think about the dynamics. Piano is soft at the beginning, both hands. C-R-E-S, and then later it's a C-E-N, and they took the word crescendo and spread it out. So we're gradually going to get louder until about the middle of the second line where you get forte, the F. So you're going to go from soft to loud, but you have to plan it out or you'll be loud too soon. So it's like, because there's several measures involved, each time I get this, that pattern, I'll just get a little louder for each of those. So I'm soft in the third measure. Now a little louder. A little louder. Loud. So each of those patterns just got a little louder. Then the accents, well, I don't agree with this. They have accented notes on fortissimo. 2 Fs, fortissimo, very loud. You don't need accents if they're very loud. However, that comes in handy in a sense that it's telling you don't connect the notes. At least that's one way of interpreting accents. Just don't connect. Just play them very loud and claps the wrist on it. Don't tense up and pound on. Claps the wrist on each of these. You can't see it very well here, but that's what it is. And then the third line, you're soft. That means here. then I don't agree with this either. It's the third line. They say soft in the first measure, and then mezzo forte in the second. Mezzo forte is sort of loud? No. I'm going to play the first measure of the third line, mezzo forte. This. I want this to pick up to this. So the left hand is going to be in the background or soft. So then when you repeat it and you go up here, now you're soft, and the left hand is very soft. Then in the second page, third line down, the first time you're moderately loud, whatever you think moderately loud is, the left hand is soft. When you repeat it, now you're very soft. Here, the left hand is super soft. Then fourth line down, you see the F-P there. The first time is loud for the right hand and then soft for the second time. The left hand stays in the background. That's all it is. Now when you finish page 4, the second page here, you're here. There's a DC Alfini to send you back to the beginning. The beginning is here. You just gotta lift up. The left hand's in place. You're fine. Just lift up and move. Both hands. Then they've added pedal. Really, we can kind of use pedal here because it helps with the smoothness and the contrast, because it'll add the overtones, which gives us different tone quality to the sound than the first part, which is very clean and staccato-y and dry. And that contrast is important in music. So when the pedal comes in at the bottom, they have it coming in on the second measure. I would like to add the overtones immediately. I want to add them to that note too. Because if I play the note without pedal, it's that. If I play the note with pedal, it's a different tone. I want that tone. I want it immediately, because this is a lead in to this. But I have to change the pedal then, like you're seeing the change pedal marks. But the pedal lags behind the hands, so you're doing the notes first and then the pedal. So at the beginning of the third line on the first page, you play the note and then the pedal. Change the pedal after you play the notes. Each time. And it's pedaled that way throughout. Now when you get to the bottom of the second page, on the second time you're here, and you go, lift the pedal up with the hands so we get a little silence before we go back to the beginning. So it's... That's basically the pedal. You can experiment with a pedal if you'd like, but don't pedal the first couple lines or so on the first page. And then finally the speed. Allegro, well, that's fast, but it has to be accurate. And you're moving your hand around, so you can't mess up the beat because you're moving your hand around. Pedaling, as I said before, you could experiment with it, because at the bottom of the second page, that last section when you up here, that gets a bit blurry with pedal. What you can do is simply lift up on the third beat. Just pedal the first two beats. That clears it out a little bit. And at the bottom of the second page, the last 2 minutes, you don't need to pedal the first. I don't want them both. So I wouldn't pedal until the G sharp. Then pedal. There. So there's different ways of adjusting the pedal according to what the melody is doing. Take a look at the third line on the second page. You're here. It's like, well, just don't pedal the first beat. Put the pedal down on the second beat and you keep the melody clean. So you can lift the pedal up occasionally according to the sound. You have to listen very carefully. Do you like it? If not, fix it. Change something, experiment, find something that's a little bit different. Let's play this together very slowly and double check all the notes and rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics. I'm going to play everything about the same. I'll do the staccatos and the accents. We're going to do all the repeats. We're going to move the right hand like we're supposed to. We're just checking that you have the right note at the right time. You should play the same note I'm playing when I'm playing it. So I'll give us 3 counts. 1, ready, go. 1 and 2. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. 2, 3. 2. Repeat. To the beginning. rest, 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 rest.